Monday on Home and Family, musician Moby is going to be in our kitchen. And Naturally Danny CO host Danny CO is joining us with great DIYs.
Welcome back, everybody. Our next guest was 46 years old when she decided to follow her dreams and reinvent her life. In her new book, Finding the Wow, she tells the story of how she went from stay-at-home mom to pilot and flight instructor and then to creating programs for NASA. That's right, you heard me, NASA. Please welcome to our home, MJ McGrath.
Welcome, MJ.
Welcome, MJ.
Thanks for having me here.
This story is fascinating.
Thank you.
And so inspiring.
Thank you.
So it all began when you lost your day planner. What happened?
The day planner went missing. Well, there I was, a stay-at-home mom, and my children were 8 and 10, and things were becoming pretty routine. Of course, you know, the after-school activities, drop-off, carpools, and then the planner goes missing. So I run to the stationery store to replace it. So I pick up the fresh planner, and that was the second. I looked at it, it was blank. I dreaded having to replace it with the same stuff, but what? So I met with some friends. We were talking about our challenges, and somebody asked, well, what did you love to do when you were a kid? What were your dreams? And I knew exactly what my dreams were. I had a room full of books on space and flying, and astronauts became pilots. And I opened the planner and wrote, take flying lessons.
Wow.
And that was the beginning. But I didn't do it all that quickly. I did it in increments, in small steps. So I run to the local flight school and look at the schedule, and I get the text that I read for 8 to 12 months, highlighting everything. I did not know anything about flying. I could identify an airplane.
Yeah. That's a good start.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and so I read it, and you know, this group of mine, these friends of mine called the Chicks in Charge said, what are you doing? You're procrastinating. And it was. I was, was afraid to take that step. So I did take the step. I started my first lesson, realized that they had changed the textbook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but flying hadn't changed all
That's
that much.
a curveball.
So, yeah.
So you're doing all of this, but you still have the 2 young kids at home.
Yeah.
That's
like,
it.
How
yes.
do you, because I'm sort of in a similar situation, started a new career later in life, and balancing it all is a big challenge.
It is a big challenge. And when I stepped into the classroom, I had all new experiences that I took home to my children.
Right.
I explained to them how it felt to meet the airplane of my dreams, which was very, very small. And I told them also, too, about how it felt. Because from the moment I started my first lesson, I was hooked.
So they must have been incredibly supportive. Your family would have to be supportive because, I mean, I imagine this takes hours upon hours to learn how to become a pilot.
It does.
And you're going from full-on stay-at-home
Right.
to,
Yeah.
it's not just like a transition.
So you were out of the job force for a long time.
Yeah, I had been out of the job force. I hadn't been in a corporate job for years. And,
Right.
and I'm in a whole new field. Like I said, I am a rank beginner. So I walk into the class, and that's when I knew I was in an entirely different land. They're guys, half my age, some of them still living at home. And I look like the house mother that had crashed the fraternity party.
Here's cupcakes for everybody.
But you know what, Ken? I started bringing them cookies because that's what I do.
Yeah. Don't deny who you are.
But yeah, right. And that really helped bond us.
Were you the only woman in the class?
Yes, I was. But
also-
I loved it so much.
But also,
stayed.
didn't you deal with mommy guilt? Like here,
Sure.
I did.
Because
deal
I'm
with
sure none of
mommy
them
guilt.
did.
No, exactly.
Well, guilt that they weren't home with their mothers.
Yeah, I left my room
Different
a
kind of
mess.
mommy guilt. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was some of the fear. How would my family react?
Yeah.
And what would
But taking time away from
should
them,
I
too.
take time away from them?
What did your husband say?
And Jim was very supportive.
great.
He looked at me and said, "Good, go for it. Just not helicopters."
And in a way, I bet it ended up making you an even better mother than you were even before.
Well, the process was unfolding because, as it turned out, it was more than a pilot's license.
Yes.
I was becoming a pilot but there was a lot more going on.
Oh yeah, and a lot more did go on. That was just the tip of the iceberg, literally. You then went on to create programs for NASA and the International Space Station, which you do, called Gravity Games. How did that even happen? I mean, this is amazing.
You know, none of this was an actual blueprinted plan. This was just step by step and following one passion and letting it open doors to the next. So I wound up getting the pilot's license and then 4 more.
Oh, wow.
And I did it because I loved it and wanted to learn it. The other thing it did was open the doors to space. So I started to work with an agent for a suborbital space flight company and took training with that and learned what it feels like to leave the gravity of Earth to get to the edge of space. Now I'm going to space conferences. And at the space conferences, I meet other companies. And the other companies introduce me to more opportunities.
So is this Gravity Games that we're watching? What are Gravity Games?
Well, what you saw was, it looked like me taking that training to become a suborbital space tourist. And
Oh, the suborbital space trip. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah,
We all know that.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
You know, it's only 65 miles up, but you know.
Yeah.
But that again goes to the next thing, and the next thing happened to be a company that said, "Gee, you know, if you could only come up with some new innovations that could inspire and excite young people about space."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And on that station was a manufacturing device called a zero gravity 3D printer aboard the space station. The space station is much higher up, it's 250 miles up, but it's an orbiting lab. So I took a pilot group of students. They developed the first game that can be made in space and can only be played in space. Wow. And about a year ago, the commander of the space station demonstrated it. It was a floating kind of a Perplexus hot potato thing. It came with, it's inspired now 100 other colleges and universities to join in. Amazing. So we got to get the next generation.
This is taking PlayStation to the next level.
Wow.
This is Play Space Station. Wow, you are so inspiring. Thank you so much for sharing your
Thank
story.
you so much.
And my goodness. Finding the Wow is available online.
That's right. Christmas wish list. Get me a day planner next year. Okay?
Oh, I thought you said get you to space.
Get me to
I know
space, too.
somebody.
Allie, help us out.
Yes, I am making some perfect little treats for the Kitten Bowl that's coming up. You're not going to miss them. They're fun and they're festive. Festive for the Kitten Bowl.